Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. So I wanted to answer the second part to Gabriela's question about the first part was about calorie counting and the second one about like good foods versus bad foods. And I think that one is even more difficult to cover because it's very obvious that calorie counting is really bad. But then because there are even voices within like normal population that are against calorie counting, but nearly every single person on this earth is against like very sugary food and like this is not healthy, so this is a good food, blah blah blah. And we grow up with it, so it's very difficult to get rid of it, of this mindset. And so I think I still kind of categorize foods, but not, how should I say, it's in the back of my mind, I still categorize foods, but usually it doesn't affect the way I eat. But I think for me it was nearly impossible to get rid of this, like a salad and I don't know, an omelette with some nice bread would be a good meal, and then only eating sugary cereal would be like a bad meal. But what I found was that now that I'm recovered, I do feel like some foods are good and some foods are bad for me because of how they make me feel. So as I said, like a sugary cereal, this was something I ate a lot in my recovery because it's just a very easy way to eat something, and it doesn't make you feel sick very quickly. So you can eat a lot of it, which is great and perfect for recovery. But now that I'm recovered, I still eat it. Especially if I don't have anything else to eat. That's always like my option if I'm too lazy to cook something. But oftentimes I feel the sugar. I just don't feel as energized as if I would eat something else. So that's why I kind of like maybe see it as a worse food than another type of food. But what we struggle with a lot in recovery, and I mean in EDs, is that if we categorize the food as bad, it's just prohibited. Like you cannot eat it, and that's the absolute wrong thing. Nothing should be not allowed because why? If you want to eat it, that means your body needs it, and you should eat it. Point. That's the whole philosophy that I follow. A lot of the times I eat bad foods, but then sometimes during the day I still crave like some veggies or whatever. But it's not because I'm like, oh shit, I should eat a good food. No, it's just because my body demands it. So during recovery, the whole situation is very complicated because you are not in a normal situation, and that's something we fall into a lot when we do recovery, that we think like the way you eat in recovery is how it's always gonna stay. Like you're always gonna only crave chocolate and cheese or whatever. But no, recovery is a very special state where, again, your body needs huge amounts of energy, and that's how it eats. But as soon as you recovered, you will crave a much more balanced diet. At least that's what I found. So please, if you are in recovery, it's probably always better to opt for the bad food because that's what you're scared of. Otherwise, you wouldn't label it as bad. Yeah, opt for the bad food and then just try to get rid of this labeling anyway. If I talk to people, I would never say something like, oh, that's not healthy, that's this and that, because I really don't want to be that person. And with myself, I barely do it. I just buy whatever looks good to me and I don't try to label it or anything. But people will always make comments like, for example, yesterday I was talking to my boyfriend, and then he was like, we were talking about Starbucks, and I like to go to Starbucks like once a week or twice a week. I don't know why. I'm like the absolute cliche business student, I love going there with like my laptop and work a little. I just feel like it motivates me, and he makes fun of it because obviously it's kind of funny because I'm like the stereotype, and he's much more like a tech guy that finds it weird or cringy, but as a joke, like he's not actually making fun of me. And then he was like, yeah, and it's so expensive and it's not even healthy. Like it's really unhealthy too. It has a lot of sugar. And I was like, why do you have to mention that? But so yeah, you will always encounter people talking about good and bad foods. It's much more extreme than calorie counting. So I wouldn't say you should try to completely get over the fact that a food is labeled as good or bad. You should get over the fact that it affects you. So again, when I talk to people, like there's always some comment about food, bad, good, like oh it's not even healthy, so it wasn't worth it, blah 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 blah. And you should just accept that this food is seen in a certain way by society, but you should also accept that your body knows better than society. Like you're unique and you have unique cravings, and that's fine. In the end, there is something going on. Maybe like you just need a boost of energy, that's why you're craving a sugary thing. Maybe I don't know, yesterday you did a lot of okay, that's a stupid example, but maybe you need some protein to recover, so you're craving like meat. And things like that. There's always a reason why you're craving things. And please, because I was talking to one of my best friends and she was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna start because there's like a guideline. If you crave sugar, you should eat this and this instead. So I'm probably gonna try to eat it, follow that. And again, I'm like, no, if your body craves sugar, it simply wants it. And the more you try to restrict it, the more your body will want to eat sugar. That's basic rule in life. If you try to not eat a bad food, you will eat it even more. And prime example from my teenage years, for me, the only bad food was chocolate. I didn't really like any other sweet food. So for me, I was like, okay, if I don't eat sugar, I'm gonna lose weight. Or if I don't eat chocolate. So for me, that was the only bad food. And what did restricting my bad food lead me to? I was binging like crazy, and I was eating in the end a lot of chocolate because it was so forbidden for me that I craved even more. Instead of simply listening to my body and eating whatever it wanted, whether it's a good or bad food, and yeah, just eat it and then go on with my day instead of obsessing over the fact where is a good or bad food, or I don't know, just eat it. Done. Okay. So yeah, I guess that's it. Maybe that was stupid advice because some people would tell you like, oh no, try to stop thinking of foods as good or bad. And I would suggest to you that too. Like literally, that would be the best thing to do, to just stop thinking of a food as good or bad. But oftentimes, because we grew up with it, it's really ingrained in our minds and everything that isn't like veggies are good and sweets are bad. The important thing is just to stop caring about it. You don't have to forget about it, you just have to stop caring about it and to realize that what your body craves is in the end much more important than how the food is labeled. So yeah. I hope that helped. Got really long. Bye bye.